Holy. And to do that,
Yes.
we need you.
Very fallen soul, Prabhu. That's very humble, humble answer from you. I'm very fallen, Prabhu.
Well,
Too much dirt into, too much dirt in my heart. So need to remove that
no,
first.
don't worry. We will save humans also, but we're going to concentrate on every species, not just humans.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right.
Because humans have arguments against being delivered from birth and death, and animals
Yes.
just hear. But I'm just kidding, because if anyone, animal or human, hears the holy name of Krishna chanted as Prabhupada uttered it once, they will go back to Godhead eventually. So our goal isn't to make everybody into temple devotees. Our goal is that everyone should hear the holy name of Krishna at least once. Does that sound all right?
Yes, Prabhu, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. We need to adjust our thinking, because we're always thinking of devotee, temple, guru, like that. But we don't need, I mean, if we have a temple, that's wonderful. But we don't, and we have a guru in Prabhupada, and they say, well, what about successor gurus? Well, what is a successor guru? I mean, that's fine, but what is a successor guru going to teach that Prabhupada hasn't already given us? You know?
Before we
What will
even
he
go,
give it?
before we even go to the successive
It's an
gurus,
Indian tradition, no doubt, to have a successor guru, but we're dealing with the fact that Lord Chaitanya has given us the holy name, and Prabhupada is, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur predicted what Prabhupada would do, and this holy name has been brought to us, by Prabhupada. And everyone says, oh, you need a Diksha Guru, you need this, you need that. But my question is, since you're already going to go back to Godhead, what will the Diksha Guru give you or provide you that you don't already have?
he will provide you a cushion
What sort of cushion?
to sit on.
No, no, we have to provide him a cushion. Like, sit on.
You have to provide him a cushion, right?
Yeah, we have to be careful. He has to be careful not to end up like Rama Harshan, of course.
Yes, we talked about that yesterday, right?
We did. I read a whole thing, but I was so alarmed by that other version,
Yeah.
that I wanted to read the whole thing just so that you would
Everything.
erase the other version from the Akashic record.
Yeah, we have to clarify everything, right?
No
Yeah.
kidding.
That's why we have this Istagosthi forum where people can come, anyone can come and clarify or ask questions. Be like, what about this? What about that? This is what I
Yeah.
understand. So
But interestingly, what I read wasn't anything very surprising. It was right out of a children's book called the Krishna book.
children's book. Yeah.
Well, the people look at it that way.
Right.
Actually, Prabhupada wrote the Krishna book deliberately as a vaccination against people wanting to read the 10th canto. Because reading the 10th canto prematurely, as Paranjana found out the hard way, is very, very dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, many things in Krishna consciousness are dangerous, especially 10th canto, and then taking the position of a successor guru or a diksha guru. All these things are very dangerous things that people don't realize.
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah.
Because they're used to religion.
Yes.
And religion is something which anyone can have, Jewish or Muslim or Christian or Catholic. There's no limit to the religions you can have, and nobody expects the religious leader to be anything other than a revered teacher rather than a spiritual master. But when you get into the idea of a guru, you're talking about a spiritual master. And from that point of view, that person has to be from Krishna Loka, not just an ordinary human being, you know?
Right.
And that's where they make their mistake. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in The Harmonist warned, he said, when the bona fide Acharya leaves, then everybody swarms in to take the role of Acharya, who you wouldn't even live. He said, I don't exactly remember his exact words, many years since I read it, but it was to the equivalent. You wouldn't even leave them in an ordinary person would not allow them in their living room. And here they are proposing that they are successor gurus, you know?
Yeah.
So our job, the necessity of what we're doing is to sort that all out.
Yes.
To make it
very clear and very simple.
Yeah, do the house cleaning. You have to dust the furniture and mop the floor and all that stuff and put the furniture back where it belongs until everything's fine. You know, but people are very reluctant to do that because they would rather make a game out of it, like children in a house pretend that it's their house, meaning they pretend that whatever they do in the house is good, but the parents come home and see the mess and they say, who has done this? You know, why? You know, and the children say, oh, we were just playing. Well, we can't play with people's lives.
A lot of noise coming on. Are you doing something in the background now, bro? Like.
Not really. Sorry, I don't mean to make noise.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So yes, you were talking about children, how they make a mess and then mother comes and cleans it up. Yes.
Yeah. And that has to be done.
House cleaning.
House cleaning.
Right.
Because the kids don't know that what they're doing will not sustain them when they're 20 years old. They think, oh, if we make a mess, that's because we were playing, and we're playing because we're kids. And so there's nothing wrong with it. So you can look at it from that point of view, but in reality, it won't help anything. I mean, suppose you have important guests coming, you can't bring them in after the children have wrecked the place. You know?
Exactly.
You bring the guests in when the place is beautifully in order so that the guests will be comfortable, happy, and feeling well cared for.
Try.
So that's what we need with ISKCON, is we need to make it into a place where if Lord Chaitanya walked in the door, he would say, yes, this is what I had in mind. But we don't think that. When I first joined took initiation from Prabhupada, and I was living in temples, like in San Francisco Temple and Frederick Street, what would happen is that whatever we did it without pretense. We did it consciously. How we want to make it look so that if Prabhupada walked in from the street and saw what we have done, he would say, oh, very nice.
Right. Yeah.
But we were always thinking that. We were always thinking that if Prabhupada walked in, would he like what we're doing?
Amazing.
But when they got rid of the elections for GBCs and did all that stuff, they began to realize if they pushed hard enough, Prabhupada would not fight them to the death and he wouldn't kick them out of the movement. He would accept their offenses and try to incorporate their offenses into the mood of devotional service so that the movement would go on and not be destroyed. So knowing that, they did everything they could to guarantee their own position.
Yes.
Yeah. It didn't even occur to them that what they were doing was, as it were, highly offensive.
Yeah,
It
that's
didn't occur to them. But if you stop and think of it, if we go back to the beginning of the movement and we understand who is the spiritual master, then we have to ask, the spiritual master is absolute. So if he gives an instruction, it cannot be disobeyed by anyone or under any circumstance.
right.
That's as far as it goes.
Just like a judge giving a order.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, exactly. It is the equivalent of it being law. And if it isn't, then someone can contest it. But at the same time, when it came to, if you accept Prabhupada as guru, then you have to accept his instructions as coming from Krishna.
Right.
And if you don't accept his instructions as coming from Krishna, then it becomes a huge problem, because what is it then? I mean, you can say, well, he was the guru then, and now I'm the guru now. So the GBC actually put it in their secret document of existence that they have the right to change Prabhupada's philosophy, because he was the guru for his time, and they're the gurus for this time.
GBC, see, people are not even clear what is the role of the GBC. They have misconstrued what is the GBC, what is their role. All these things have been mismatched, and then
Why not explain it? Why not explain it?
Oh, yes. No, that's what I'm saying. The average ISKCON person who joins the unnecessary guru club, they know there's something called the GBC, and they're the boss, and we are just following whatever rules they are setting, and they know everything, and we can't question their authority. That's basically sums it up.
Yeah, because they accept it as like the church, or like the Catholic Church, that the GBC is like the cardinal, and the cardinals elect the Pope. Therefore, you can't mess with the cardinals. But they don't understand, is that the system that Prabhupada created? And then if they say, well, what about the direction of management? Then the GBC people, or the people in charge of the temples, will say, oh, Prabhupada changed his mind. He said, oh, Prabhupada changed his mind. Okay. He wrote a document that was signed by 12 people, that he signed himself. It was on legal paper and meant to be as good as scripture in terms of quality. So if he changed his mind, well, then show me the paper where he changed his mind. Where's that document by which he changed? Oh, he did it in conversations, his room conversations. There's so many situations. He could see that it wasn't working out the way he wanted it. And so he made exceptions for the rules and changed the rules. Then he said certain things about how many GBCs there were, whereas actually, according to his direction of management, by which he establishes the GBC, there weren't any GBCs. But he went along with it. Why? Because he didn't want the movement of ISKCON to be destroyed. And that's what would have happened to it if Prabhupada had said, look, I gave an order, follow it or get the heck out of here. This is what people expect, because, we come from law-abiding citizenry. Or if we come from mafia, if the head of the mafiosi says, this is what you have to do, then you don't question him, because otherwise you'll end up with concrete ankle socks at the bottom of the river. Meaning they'll stick your feet in a bucket of cement and you'll get thrown into the river to dead, So that's the whole structure. That's the whole thing.
Education.
So why not? Yeah. So why not? So we're thinking of getting some donations and putting together the direction of management into a website so that people can actually see what Prabhupada wanted. And then all we need to do is raise the question, if that's what Prabhupada ordered, by what order did he change that? Simple question. They can argue and argue, but they cannot prove anything. They can come up with room conversations. But the thing with room conversations is they're not legal. The only conversation that's taped in a room and people are depending on it, people like Paranjan and Yasada depending on room conversations to prove their point. When I was put under deposition, they didn't bring up any room conversations. The lawyers didn't, for the simple reason they knew that room conversations are not admissible in a court of law, unless there is a public acknowledgement that there's a court reporter there recording the meeting, etc. Then it becomes like a deposition, or it becomes like the word of law. But they didn't do that. So the court didn't, the lawyers, 3 court lawyers working for the GBC didn't even mention July, they didn't mention the May 18th?
May 28th.
May 28th? Got my numbers, that's right. That the May
77.
28th, 77 conversation, they didn't even mention it.
Ah.
And I clearly understood why they didn't, because it was not legal.
Yeah.
Whatever was said on that, people could say, well, we draw all of our conclusions based on that tape. You can do whatever you like. But it doesn't make it law, and doesn't make it legal. Doesn't make it the right thing to do either. Because Prabhupada once said, you have to be very, very careful what you write. And then he laughed and said, well, when you speak, he said, you could say any damn thing. He actually said that.
Yeah.
And I heard him say that, so I took it very seriously, that we can't take anything as legal that is not written. I mean, it shouldn't take a genius to be able to reach that conclusion, right?
Well, yeah, it's very simple.
Because in the court of law, if it's not written, it's called hearsay. Now, it's not admissible in the court.
Yeah, written and signed by, and
Yeah. If Prabhupada
agreed
had
on.
signed a document saying this May 28th tape is my word, is by legal, wanted to be illegal, they would then, if you say, okay, May 28th, then Prabhupada said it's legal. But then you challenge it and say, there are several versions of the May 28th tape. Which one is the one he was referring to be legal? So even if Prabhupada said it's legal, it would not make it legal. Only way to make it legal is if it's forensically supervised by a court reporter. So that way we can, in spite of everybody squawking, Ritvik or Gauravadi's squawking, we can throw all the conversations out the window and just concentrate on those things that he actually wrote. written instruction, written, not verbal this, or he said this to that devotee on that occasion. And he said something else to another devotee on another occasion. None of that. Those are all interesting things to search with your heart. It's like if somebody met Lord Buddha and he said something, or somebody's met Shankaracharya and he said something, you cherish it because it's coming from a sacred source.
Right.
But if you want to take it to a court of law, you can't do it. And this is what it boils down to. So where is a written statement that Prabhupada discontinued the GBC? If that can be produced, that he changed the GBC, then they have a case. But until they do that,
You said change the GBC, not, you mean change how they function as a GBC under the direction of Srila Prabhupada, or how
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada wanted the GBC to function in
exactly.
according
Or,
to written document.
in other words, if they want to move 1 millimeter away from the direction of management, they
Yes.
have to show where Prabhupada ordered that change in writing. And they can't. So we're in an incredibly strong position. We're not in an incredibly strong position to walk into the doors of ISKCON and say, now you have to change it back again. They'll say, go fly a kite. We don't care what you say. But if we start propagandizing and making it clear and offering that we're not against ISKCON, we're not even against the unnecessary gurus, as long as we can all recognize that they're not necessary. What we're for is Prabhupada's clear instructions and his personal example. If we can come up with that, which is not hard to do, then we will have the direction of management as one of the most important papers that was ever out. It's undoubtedly the most important paper after after the, what you call it, the incorporation papers for ISKCON Incorporated. That made it very clear how Prabhupada wanted the movement, and the direction of management is like the next door neighbor to it. And after that, I don't think any other papers of a similar sort were generated.
Yes, Prabhupada's
Okay,
management
then.
system was very simple. It was not complicated. He put everything in writing, and then
Yes.
he gave it to everyone, and then the disciples failed to abide by those instructions. So that is
Or
there.
to tell the rest of the movement that he'd issued it.
Yes, that also, they hid it from the rest of the
Congregation.
yes, congregation and the other congregation devotees, local devotees. Oh, so it was a conspiracy not to follow, or at least from the leaders, it seems like.
And it was a conspiracy to keep it hidden. Like, Narayan, tell that story about Jayatirtha.
Oh yeah. I was in New Dwarka before I was able to find, that's Los Angeles Temple. That was before I was able to find the direction of management in the database of all places.
What year was it?
Well, it was after he was a guru.
Wasn't it 75? Oh no, this is after Prabhupada left. Okay.
I'm not sure it was.
Well, Narayan Prabhu said he briefly got to see the direction of management in New Vrindavan back in 1970, what was it?
71.
71, right after Srila Prabhupada had written the direction. And then it disappeared for many, many years. Then in the 90s, he got another copy of it somewhere in the Bhaktivedanta database or something like that. Then you saw it again in the 90s.
That was in 1994. or
Yeah,
around that, maybe 1992 or 1994.
Acha. No, that's when the internet started coming out. Did you notice the internet became popular?
Well, yes, as soon as they had the database, these things that you couldn't find anywhere suddenly became public knowledge.
Yeah, so all these things are coming out now because of the internet.
Yes, and that's how we can come out now because of the internet.
Yes.
But Narayan,
What?
tell that story about Jayatirtha.
Oh yeah, so Jayatirtha, it was before 1980, and it was after 1975.
Try.
So I'm not quite sure when.
Okay.
He might
Anyway,
have been a guru because you see, Jayatirtha and I were quite close until he became a guru. In which case, he looked at me as being one of the enemy because I was one of, like Prabhupada's envious godbrothers. Suddenly, all of his godbrothers, all 5,000 of them, became their envious godbrothers. So the only person they would confide in is the people that they had initiated, who accepted them as guru.
yeah.
So what happened is that Jayatirtha was there, and he was walking off he was like near the end of Prabhupada's sidewalk going up into his room. He was there right at the curb, and I was walking across the street. I said, Jayatirtha, I would like to see a copy of the direction of management. And he looked at me and snarled. He said, it is locked in a safe. And I knew where the safe was. It was in Karanda's office. It was locked in a safe, and you will never get to see it.
Wow. This Jayatirtha got so envious, of other god brothers, it seems, the way he was talking to you.
You're not envious of me. His problem was that he did not want anyone to know that the direction of management existed. Right?
I see.
Because if they knew that the direction of management existed, then they would have to elect the GBC. And the GBC had no intention. I think that's Rupa Manjari's point also. The GBC had zero intention of ever being elected.
Wow. They've continued that since 1970.
Yeah, well, after that, they made, in the last 8 years of Prabhupada's existence as outside of Samadhi, they created a huge body of GBC.
It's been 51 years. I just calculated. 1970, 2021 minus 1970, 51 years.
So it's so important that we clear that up and make it once again available. And I think now people will be more and more receptive to seeing it. But instead of using it, try to use it with Ritviks who didn't like the direction of management. Paranjan and Yasoda did not want anything to do with the direction of management. So I was fighting them on that topic.
Puranjana, because they had some separate idea to establish their own institution?
Yes, they wanted to see ISKCON destroyed and the deities recognized as simply pieces of marble.
Acha, that was their
objective. And then they would start up the movement properly in their own temples called, what was it, Hare Krishna
Society.
Hare Krishna Society, yeah.
I see, they were, okay. So they were, I see, there's a clash here. You were trying to get the word out that ISKCON can come to its original glory by following the direction of management. and the other side was saying that, oh, let's close down all the temples, they're offenders and this and that, and let's start our own temples.
Meaning they don't want to fix the problem. They just
Yeah.
want to abandon it.
Acha, yeah,
Yeah.
abandoned ship, right?
Yeah, and that way they would become gurus.
I see. Wow.
It's always about the material body.
Yeah. Right. That's a very good distinction that you have made here. That there was an unelected GBC, there was you there, and whoever else. Did you have a lot of support in the 90s on the direction of management, and were people assisting you? Meaning not assisting, like talking to you, be like, hey, this is what we need to do, and how can we get it done?
Well, and not in the 90s. Rupa Manjari became involved in 2007 or 8. Would you say we got very much popular support for the work we did, Rupa?
No, it was like
Your
screaming
voice
at-
is not clear. Please speak in the microphone. Sorry.
It was like screaming at deaf people,
Oh,
or actually, to be more specific, it was trying to wake people that are pretending to be asleep.
oh.
That's Prabhupada's words. Very excellent term. Yeah.
Wow. You guys were right there in the epicenter, huh? Los Angeles.
We created a gorgeous website. There was, how many pages where do you think it was, Rupa?
Maybe 10.
Yeah, I think it was about 10 pages. Beautifully researched, beautifully illustrated. Rupa Manjari has a wonderful artistic sense. And the whole thing was just beautifully developed. And I don't know who went to it, but everybody was too afraid, because people still wanted to have some relationship with the temples. They didn't want it all on face-to-face war with the temples. So they just dodged away from it. And besides, most people had in their minds the thought, well, maybe Prabhupada did change his mind. What if he did change his mind? That's what they say. They say he changed his mind. So this time I think it was going to be much different. We can present the direction of management as the legal proof positive that the GBC, or ISKCON as a whole, including the GBC, chose consciously to disobey the pure devotee of the Lord. Which means whoever disobeys Prabhupada, even, I like to say that the direction of management stated who was the first GBC members. If they swore they were going to have elections every 3 years, and they already knew who they were to be GBC for 3 years and to elect others to become GBC after 3 years, whoever disobeyed the direction of management technically ceased to be a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Technically. He treated these people as disciples, but that doesn't mean that they were still disciples. When you disobey the spiritual master, you lose your relationship to the spiritual master in terms of his mercy. That's a fact. Now, it's hard to puzzle that out with the history of ISKCON, but just understand that Prabhupada took this big disobedient aparadnik group and utilized them to achieve his goal, even though they did everything they could to stop his goal. But what he did was he created something for us to do, clearly. All that thing happened, and the Ritvik movement happened, which didn't do a damn bit of good. And then it came, that died down. Now it's our position to be in the sun, this place in the sun, to take care of it now, us.
Joy.
And that will be successful because it's the right time. Rupa Manjari did a brilliant website for the GBs, for the direction management, but it didn't have any effect on them. But now with better communication, we have, Facebook, which we didn't have back then. We have so many things we didn't have.
No, we had Facebook back then.
And it was the other one. It was, what was it called?
It was Facebook, for sure. It was Facebook.
No, before, what was the one before Facebook?
MySpace?
Yeah, MySpace. You were on MySpace, and you had a lot of complicated.
No, it
work
was
there.
Facebook. It was Facebook.
No, Prabhu, I was there.
Anyways, that's not the point. Let's come to
The point is that Facebook came in just as we were writing the direction of management website. But it wasn't that popular and not that many devotees were on it. It was very straggly compared to today.
Jai.
That's not what I remember.
What do you remember?
It was Facebook, and it had a lot of devotees on it, and they all unilaterally turned their backs on the work that we were doing.
Well, that came along a bit later. Remember, things moved quickly in those days. It came along later when we were having that debate with Rochan, which we were going to make a decisive, formal proof that the direction of management was a continuous desire of Srila Prabhupada. But I remember, I think we were probably still on La Brea, at the La Brea temple, when you switched from MySpace to Facebook. But it doesn't really make much difference. But you never published anything on MySpace. But you were completely on MySpace for years.
Okay, so
If that's not what it was called.
anyways, so now we're back in 2021 now. So
Yes.
people are, everything is being decentralized, and that is what Prabhupada wanted, decentralized management. At least the GBC, the temple president, these are separate entities, but they work together collectively.
Well, they work under the GBC.
Yes.
Because the GBC appoints gurus and can take gurus out. So the GBC is just a priestly function run by the Vatican-like GBC, who is not under the temple. They're not under the GBC is not under the gurus whatsoever.
It's the other way around.
Yes, the gurus are under the GBC. I'm sorry you said that about Facebook and MySpace, Rupa Manjari. You might well be right, but I have a pretty vivid memory of that sort of stuff.
Anyways,
it doesn't matter.
Yes.
The main thing is it doesn't matter.
So, yeah, no, I was saying that now everything is coming to that system that Prabhupada wanted, decentralized. A lot of people are fed up, especially you see here in Sacramento, you kind of came here and kind of judged the situation, how everything is ready for the direction of management, because everyone is all like, they don't know what to do. They're frustrated, so.
So we can't change that, but what we can do is present that information so clearly in such a way that anybody reading it will understand the situation in Sacramento.
Right.
That they will then say, well, either we have to get the direction of management in ISKCON, or we have to create our own GBC. But we can't. We have to go by Prabhupada's instruction.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the amazing thing is that they got away with it for so long.
51 years.
Prabhupada's instruction. Huh?
51 years.
disobeying since 1970.
Yes, 1970, 51 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was talking with Ramachandra Prabhu earlier that because they didn't obey that order, the movement didn't expand properly. The Hare Krishna explosion, which Hayagriva wrote about, became like the Hare Krishna, I like to call it the Hare Krishna implosion. Because when the GBC got in control, they just wanted to control what they had. They didn't want to expand unless they could control that too.
Yes. No, see, that's the thing in Sacramento and around where I live. There's so many, Hindu temples, and if we had an ideal temple, ISKCON, Prabhupada standard, original books, following the direction of management, Prabhupada, the center, then all of these temples can be ISKCON temples, following Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, and remain under this current leadership.
Yes.
As long as they accept Prabhupada.
Yes. So now what they have is all hodgepodge stuff, which is not bona fide, which is no Siddhanta. It's all a mess. But if we had an ideal system, direction of management with the local temples, because they want to be the local controllers. I mean, for example, I went to Manteca today. I was like, wow, you guys have a wonderful place here. You guys have ashrams, but you guys have no standard. You have all this.
Yeah.
But if we had a standard, which we know we have, they can become a bona fide movement instead of branch, yes. Bona fide branch.
Then they would get all the benefits of being part of a huge international organization.
Yes.
If the huge international organization repents and accepts that the GBC must be elected.
Right. So in this way, they have stunted the movement. I mean, that's clearly without any doubt.
They ended it.
They ended it, right? Yeah.
So much so that when Udwarka was there, they used to have satellite temples that were called preaching centers, but really were just collection centers in Las Vegas, here, there, and there, to get money to bring back to New Dwarka, back to Los Angeles Temple. They've sent people out all over the place to distribute literature and collect money to bring it back, instead of going out to Las Vegas and opening a temple there that was independent.
Yes, yes.
But because they did it that way, and without the GBC helping, but rather hindering the progress of the movement, Los Angeles still has only one temple, even though Los Angeles County has 10 million residents.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's one temple for 10 million residents.
Yeah. It's
and this is the sort of thing we can put into the cover document for the direction of management, is pointing out that the minute that people essentially controlled centers, they didn't want to open anything more because they were afraid they'd lose control. But if the temple presidents were in control and the GBC was elected, then there would be no control required for the other centers.
Yeah, I mean, at least in Sacramento, we can have 10 temples, Well, what each easily, yeah. One in Sacramento, one in Folsom, one, in Roseville, all over the place. But because the GBC is crippled and they don't educate people, all you have is a mess.
Well, they can't educate anyone because the GBC is based on only one factor, and that's obedience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blind.
So that means the growth is very slow. So I put forward the idea that the war in Iraq, for instance, would never have occurred if the movement had expanded, and if at that time we had had 10,000 temples in the United States, there would have been no war in Iraq, because it would have produced a counter force to the type of thinking that produced the war in Iraq.
Yeah. I mean, we're at the right time because people are fed up with the centralized management, centralized, and they're seeing all the gurus, these unnecessary gurus engaged in, many activities which are not a bona fide
But-
guru will never do. And
I'm very impressed with the Fiji devotees.
oh, you are.
They're full of energy and they're very dedicated and they're very sincere.
Yeah,
They haven't been corrupted as much by ISKCON as other devotees that know how you have to play the game and play the game and play the game by Sheshika and before, for, as you put it, 51 years.
yeah. These Fiji devotees, they're innocent and they take anything that, like Bir Krishna would say or Vaisheshika would say, whatever these people they will say, they will take it without asking any question. So that is their what can you say, misfortune misfortune that they don't question,
That's right. So is this a good time to bring the direction of management up on the screen?
Yes.
Go through it?
Sure, yes, I'll put it up right now.
Okay, that'll be wonderful.
Okay, let's see. Articles, direction of management. Okay, here it is, direction of management. So you want the facsimile? The facsimile is here.
The what? The facsimile, yeah, that's good.
Right here.
Do you want Rupa to read it?
Yes.
Or do you want to read it?
No, Rupa is the best reader here. So,
Oh, thanks.
Rupa, go ahead, please.
Okay, direction of management. I, the undersigned A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, disciple of Om Vishnupad Paramahansa 108 Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada, came in the United States in 1965 on September 18th for the purpose of starting Krishna consciousness movement. For 1 year, I had no shelter. I was traveling in many parts of this country. Then in 1966, July, I incorporated the society under the name and style, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, briefly ISKCON. The lawyer was Mr. J. Goldsmith. Gradually, the society increased and one after another branches were opened. Now we have got 34 branches enlisted herewith.
Wow, 34 branches in how many years? So 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. In what? In 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what month was this DOM created?
Direction of management.
July 28th.
July 28th, 1970.
So he went from September to July of 70, September 65 or 66?
66.
Less than 4 years.
Yeah.
As we have increased our volume of activities, now I think a governing body commission, hereinafter referred to as GBC, should be established. I'm getting old, 75 years old. Therefore, at any time, I may be out of the scene. Therefore, I think it is necessary to give instruction to my disciples how they shall manage the whole institution. They are already managing individual centers represented by one president, one secretary, and one treasurer, and in my opinion, they are doing nice. But we want still more improvement in the standard of temple management, propaganda for Krishna consciousness, distribution of books and literatures, opening of new centers.
Okay, let's go to the next page. Page number 3.
And educating devotees to the right standard.
Jai.
Therefore, I have decided to adopt the following principles, and I hope my beloved disciples will kindly accept them. There was a meeting in San Francisco during the Ratha Yatra Festival 1970, and many presidents of the centers were present. In that meeting, it was resolved that an ad hoc committee be set up to form the constitution, which is taken into consideration. My duty was to first appoint 12 persons to my free choice amongst my disciples, and I do it now, and their names are as follows. Shriman Rupanuga Das Adhikari, Shriman Bhagavan Das Adhikari, Shriman Samasundar Das Adhikari, Shriman Satsrup Das Adhikari, Shriman Karandar Das Adhikari, Hansaduta Das Adhikari, Tamal Krishna Das Adhikari, Sudama Das Adhikari, Pali Murdan Das Adhikari, Brahmachari, Jagadish Das Adhikari, Hayagriva Das Adhikari, and Krishna Das Adhikari.
Jai.
These personalities are now considered as my direct representatives. While I am living, they will act as my zonal secretaries, and after my demise, they will be known as executors. I have already awarded sannyas, or the renounced order of life, to some of my students, and they have also got very important duties to perform in this connection. The sannyasis will travel to our different centers for preaching purpose, as well as enlightening the members of the Center for Spiritual Advancement. The sannyasis will suggest for opening new centers in suitable places, and the GBC will take action.
Jai. Okay. Let's go to GBC will take action. Wait a minute. Okay.
As was stipulated by the ad hoc committee, the function of the GBC will be as follows with particulars. Particulars of the governing body commission. The purpose of the governing body commission is to act as the instrument for the execution of the will of His Divine Grace. And further, 1. The GBC oversees all operations and management of ISKCON as it receives direction from Srila Prabhupada, and His Divine Grace has the final approval in all matters. 2. His Divine Grace will select the initial 12 members of the GBC. In the succeeding years, the GBC will be elected by a vote of all temple presidents, who will vote for 8 from a ballot of all temple presidents, which may also include any secretary who is in charge of a temple. Those 8 with the greatest number of votes will be members for the next term of GBC. Srila Prabhupada will choose to retain 4 commissioners. In the event of Srila Prabhupada's absence, the retiring members will decide which 4 will remain. The commissioners will serve for a period of 3 years, and they may be re-elected at the end of this period. The chairman is elected by the GBC for each meeting. He has no veto power, but in event of a vote tie, his vote will decide. The same will apply for votes cast by mail between regular meetings. 5. Throughout the year, each of the commissioners will stay with His Divine Grace for 1 month at a time and keep the other commissioners informed of His Divine Grace's instructions. 6. The primary objective of the GBC is to organize the opening of new temples and to maintain the established temples. 7. Advice will be given by the GBC in cases of real property purchases, which will be in the name of ISKCON Incorporated. Trucks or other vehicles will be purchased in the name of the local
temple presidents. Let's see.
president. Removal of a temple president by the GBC requires support by the local temple members. 9. The GBC has no jurisdiction in the publication of manuscripts, which will be handled by a separate committee, profits to be returned to Srila Prabhupada. So far my books are concerned, I am setting up a different body of management known as the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. The trustees of this body are also members of the GBC, but their function is not dependent on the GBC. ISKCON Press was created for the exclusive publication of my books and literatures and should be continued in that way. During my absence, no one shall live in my apartment. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, July 28, 1970. Witnessed by Rupanuga, Bhagavan, and Kurandar.
Jai. Very simple document, which they don't want to follow. Interesting, huh?
Well, it's no surprise.
No surprise. Why you say that? No surprise, because they'll be voted out? Or
Yeah, exactly, because they want to have absolute control and power.
right.
But Rupa Manjari Prabhu, why not give him a sort of a rundown of what happened between the direction of management in 1976?
Well, the GBC became increasingly heretical. They started having secret meetings to centralize ISKCON, and Prabhupada, when he found out about this, was so disturbed that he dissolved the GBC temporarily, and then later he reformed it. But have you seen, Ramachandra, have you seen Prabhupada's letter where he comes down on them like a ton of bricks.
Yes, I've seen that. Yes, I've seen that. He said now GBC has been something like they have been stopped from whatever services they had to function as or they had to do. He was basically the controller, and the temple presidents were in charge, right? Without any involvement of the GBC.
Right. Yeah, he dissolved the GBC
Yes.
because they were already doing things their own way. Since Prabhupada would not approve of their plans, they just started doing them in secret.
Yes, yes. They appointed Acharya Rishi, and Prabhupada here says that he was never, sanctioned by him to be a, GBC.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just read that here.
Nor was he elected.
Nor was elected, exactly.
But interestingly, every time it was time for a presumed election, the GBC did something so outrageous that they couldn't hold an election. Which, as far as I can tell, was completely intentional on their part.
Okay, here I found it, what Rupa Prabhu was saying. Let me share the screen so people can see. Share screen. Here it is. It is Rupa Manjari. Maybe you can read this once more.
Sure. Under these circumstances, I authorize you to disregard for the time being any decision from the GBC men until my further instruction. You manage your affairs peacefully and independently and try to improve the spiritual atmosphere of the centers more carefully. I shall be very glad to know the names of your assistants, such as secretary, treasurer, and accountant. Finally, I beg to repeat that all GBC orders are suspended herewith by me until further notice.
There you go.
And this all took place about when it was time for an election.
Here's more details, Prabhu.
Acharya Rishi Das was selected by the secretary. Acharya Rishi Das was selected to be the secretary for GBC and receive all correspondence, including monthly reports. End quote. I never appointed Acharya Rishi member of the GBC, and I do not know how he can be appointed secretary to GBC without. Quote, he was also appointed to be on the management committee with Karandar for the purpose of supervising ISKCON business and implementing the decisions reached by GBC, end quote. This has very much disturbed me.
Wow, yeah.
You should
So
highlight
if we see the spiritual master's order as absolute, then we can see that they have actually committed Vaishnava aparad by not following the order of their spiritual master, which technically means they are no longer disciples.
Yeah.
Sriman Acharya Rishi Das may be very expert, but without my say, he has been given so much power, and this has upset my brain. I also understand that immediate actions are going to take place even prior to my permission, and that also, quote, without divulging to the devotees, end quote.
Wow. Let's see. So they're doing all this behind.
Yeah, I mean, in any monarchy, that would be considered a conspiracy punishable by death.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what would happen. If it was a king, whether it's Roman times, Greek times, English court, French court, German court, if anyone did that, they would be put to death.
Yes.
Or at least exiled.
Yeah, so they put Acharya Rishi on as a GBC without Srila Prabhupada's permission, and then Prabhupada disbanded the GBC's authority because of this incident without consenting Srila Prabhupada and without having an election, without keeping him informed. Of
there are quite a number of more letters. And interestingly, every time an election might have taken place, could have taken place, Prabhupada, they created such a disturbance that there was no question of having an election.
Wow.
Like this. How can you have a GBC election? Which year did Acharya Rishi become voted in?
I think 72.
72, yes. 72.
Okay, well, 71, he created the GBC, or at least
70.
in 70, he created the GBC. Does it say 70 on the document?
Yes. In 70.
Yeah, but in Vrindavan it was 71 when I first saw it. So if it was, what month of 70? It was September?
The direction of management?
No, July, yeah, July
28.
28th?
Yes, July 28,
1970.
1970, yes.
Okay, July 28th, why not count 3 years from there? And that would be 1973, July 28th of 1973, there should have been an election.
Yes.
So what happened in July in 1973?
Nothing
And of
happened.
course, the next election would be 1976, presumably.
Yes.
Depending
In,
how you count.
in 1975, and this was what Rabindra Swarup based that document that he wrote, Error of Zakhaimism. There was a GBC note that said there will be no elections. And the implication, of course, was this year, but he deliberately misinterpreted it to be period at
Ever.
all. Yeah. But there was evidently some talk about having an election, and then it was canceled.
Yes, and in 76, 75?
I think it was 75. Yeah.
Yeah. So they missed, that would have been the second initiation if they'd had initiations. Election. It would have been the second election if they'd had elections.
Yes. Yes. So by that time, the temples should have expanded to a much more temples, in the name of it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because at the rate things were going from 1970 onward, we got the temple in 1969 in Los Angeles. And if that had been followed, then we could have had startup temples all over the place without any Hindus or Indians involved.
Right.
Because there weren't that many Indians at that time. There were few. They came to ISKCON or they gathered in their own places. But it wasn't like today where there's more Indian devotees than there are non-Indian devotees.
Yes. Yes.
So at that time, if they'd started opening temples like crazy under the authority of the GBC, the movement would have expanded like crazy. But
So
the GBC, go ahead.
So they're responsible essentially for the death of ISKCON by denying the DOM.
Yeah.
And by doing things their own way.
Precisely.
And against,
Yes.
and in a complete and total heretical attack on Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah. And this is what we need to make very clear, that we're not going to blame the current members of ISKCON for this. We don't even have to blame them at that time. They acted out of greed, lust, greed, and ignorance. But what we can say is this is what what happened. The actual outcome of what they did was ISKCON was basically destroyed. And this will be our call. We need to, that needs to be our cry in the, crying over the wilderness or whatever, that this is it's not too late to rectify it, and it's high time to rectify it, and all the big questions that people have will be cleared up if we rectify it. But it can't go on because it's against the Acharya.
Yes.
And you can say, well, we have successor Acharyas now. That you can't go past that point because you didn't have a successor Acharyas at that time at all. All you had was temple presidents, and the GBCs could hardly have been called GBCs because they had just been made GBCs in 1970, you know.
Right. So that is the this thing needs to be taken up by a handful of devotees, and then they need to talk to their congregation members and figure these things out.
Can you assemble that sort of group in Sacramento?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. You know, we made an attempt.
Well, we're
For them
making an attempt. We did not. We
Right.
made. We're making an attempt.
Right.
It's ongoing attempt. We're not going to get magical results. It's not that people are going to say, "Wow, you're right. Let's get together." They're going to have to take a lot of time to think it through. And the biggest thing they have to think through is, you may be telling the truth, but I don't want to give up my position with Vaisheshika. That sort of thing, you know. They have something to lose, each one, right? Are we there?
They're gonna lose their bodies sooner or later, anyways.
Well, they don't care about that. They think they're going to live forever because once the jiva is in the body, it makes the body think it's eternal. That's why people are so surprised when they become 100 years old and then the death is there. And they said, "Not me. I'm alive." Why do you say you're alive? Well, I mean, maybe it's because I'm a jiva. That's why I'm alive. But your body is wearing out, in case you hadn't noticed. Yeah, I try to take good care of it. I take nutrients. I do all sorts of nice stuff to preserve it. I don't smoke anymore. I don't drink anymore. All of that. Yeah, but then you're going to die. Your body's going to die. You're not going to die. That's the moment of truth. They said, "You mean I could have known this all along? That I'm not my body and that I'm not going to die, but my body will die? Why didn't I consider that all those years?"
Right.
And if it's a devotee, why didn't I consider it for 50 years?
Insufficient guidance
Yeah.
and disobedience to Prabhupada.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the basic item of our philosophy. You're not this body, you're spirit soul. So at what point does being spirit soul become a factor in a temple, your everyday life at a temple? You know, when we talked with that guy who was a president and said he had to talk to somebody, I think he was a very elegant, young Fijian guy, tall guy.
Oh, he's not actually from Fiji, but he's from India.
Where is he from? From India.
He's from India. Yeah.
Okay. He was so nice, very courteous. But we could say,
Yeah, he was a funny guy.
yeah, say, well, this is the actual truth.
He was
does
like,
it
"Oh,
matter or does it count? Does it matter or it doesn't matter?
he was like, I will have to talk to my people and get back to you. They cannot talk like spirit soul."
Yeah.
You
So
know,
we
like,
were
"Oh
talking
yeah,
about the whole thing and how let's take this money, it's controversial sum of money, let's use it, make a plan together to use it to spread Krishna consciousness.
yes, very
He said,
simple."
but you have to give our share to us. I said, it's not yours, it's Krishna's. How would you
Right.
give your share to you? No,
Right,
that doesn't belong to you.
right. Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's
to be
what.
used for serving Krishna. And I'm saying, let's serve Krishna with it.
Yeah, they told me, "Ronald, we have removed you from the account. Now you take your share and leave." I was like, "No, I don't want anything. I want to be put back on the account." That was my main argument. And they blackmailed me, said either you take your share or we won't put you back on the account. That's what they told me.
Or did they put you back on the account?
Yeah, they did put me back on the account when they screwed up.
When
And
the account was empty.
Yeah, no, the account was not empty. The account always had money. They screwed up by transferring money from the ISKCON's account to ISKCON account without touching the account which I was removed from, which I was the original person who was on the.
I thought maybe I understood it in a different way. So what actually happened? You had two sums of money?
No, actually what happened was there were 3 people on the account. And because I told them, hey, I'm the president and treasurer, I've not decided to give you guys any money yet because this money is not ISKCON's money. This money was collected by the devotees in Sacramento, which they were never part of ISKCON. So I was like, I'm ready to give you guys some money, provided you guys come up with a plan, and then we talk about the plan. As the president, as the president, I'm like, I have that authority. You guys cannot, make decisions without my consent. If you want to do something, let's talk about it. So all these 3 devotees that were part of it, they decided to have a meeting amongst themselves, 2 or 3 people.
Three besides you.
No, total 3.
Including
me?
you.
Yeah, including me. Yes, 3. That's it.
So the 2 got together.
Yeah, the 2 got together, and they, booted me out. They booted me out. Then I said, "Hey, what's going on here? Why did you guys do this? This is not how Prabhupada."
How did they boot you out? Obviously, they didn't use boots. So what did they do?
So what they did was they had some secret meetings with the devotees, and I was like, I'm not gonna, be part of your meetings unless we have a Istagosthi with the devotees. So they did not want to have an Istagosthi and discussion, and they had a meeting without me, and then they decided to, remove me.
Well, how did they remove you?
They talked to a couple of members, and they said, I don't know what the meeting was, but they wrote on the paper to protect the funds that were collected. We're removing, Ronald Singh from, the account.
So that was legal?
Legal?
Legal.
No. Why would it be legal? Legal means.
Legal means they could take it to court and win.
No. Why could no? No, they cannot take it to court and win. You saw the guy.
Yeah. But my question is, how could they vote you out if did you have a legal corporation?
Oh yeah, everything.
Just a bank?
It was legal corporation, yes.
Okay, and you were legally the treasurer?
Yeah, treasurer. Yeah.
I mean, actually legally the treasurer, or are you just a member of the corporation?
No, I was legally the treasurer and the president. I had 2 positions. Yeah.
So if you have those 2 positions, they cannot take you out of those positions without operating legally.
Yes.
That's what my question was.
Yes.
So if they operated legally, did they create a legal document and file it with whoever gave you the corporate status?
No, they never did that. Nope.
So in other words, they didn't have any authority to do it at all, because without filing it, then you were still the president and treasurer, no matter what they signed behind your back.
Yes, I'm still in that position. Yes. So and then.
Well, now you are. Yeah, but then what happened? How did the money? How come they didn't end up with the money?
Oh, so they removed me from the account, and then what happened was, I asked them, hey, why did you guys do that? Because we want to protect the funds, and they were saying that you were gonna, Ronald Singh, I was gonna take the money and leave, take the money and like.
So they didn't go to the law; they went to the bank.
Yes.
And had you removed from the account.
Yes.
But could they do that legally? I mean, wouldn't you have to sign also?
No,
To be removed?
basically, they came up with a document and they had a meeting to be like, hey, we had a meeting and then we removed this person. That's what they did. So they went together to the bank, and I guess they presented this
But
document.
you were a legal signer, right?
Yes, I was the legal signer to the
But
account.
with
Yes.
the bank, not with them.
With the bank, exactly. No, not with them.
Yeah,
For the
so
corporation.
they could not legally take your position away without you either resigning or being sued.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And you didn't do either.
I didn't do either. They just went behind my back, had some meetings. I told them, just wait. Let's have a meeting in a
Yeah,
few
but,
months.
well, it doesn't matter. Their meeting has no impact on the legal side. The legal side is between them, the two of them, and you and the bank. That's
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so they didn't kick you out at all. You were still in charge.
Yeah, I'm still in charge. And what happened was when they were asking for the money to be transferred to ISKCON of Sacramento, I'm like, why are you guys going to do this? I have already decided that I'm going to give you the money provided you guys come up with a plan and submit it so I can see. But they went and they removed me, and then they were going to forcefully take the money and transfer.
They didn't remove you.
They did not
actually. They didn't legally remove you.
Yeah, they didn't legally remove me. All they did was
because the people. Okay, did the people that they signed that they were removing you with, did they belong to the corporation?
Yes, they also belong to the corporation. Yes.
Oh, you said there were only two people in the corporation besides you.
Yeah, these two people. Yes, they are the person. These two people. They came up with a document and saying that we are removing you because we want to protect the funds. That you're not going to take the money and run. These two people, they had a meeting amongst themselves.
Okay, does that go with the bylaws of the corporation? You can't have a corporation without bylaws being filed with the state.
Yeah, the bylaws are there. Yeah, the bylaws are there, and they can have a meeting.
That they can vote you. That they can vote you out.
Yeah, basically, they can vote anyone out. 2 against 1.
Not anyone, just people that are part of the corporation.
Yes, they can do that. Yes.
Okay. It's a little foggy. There's a lot of emotions in this, and I'm trying to get to the facts beyond the emotional side. And that is, so the two other members there are only 3 members in the entire corporation. The 2 of them got together, not with anybody else, just the 2 of them, and they chose to remove you as the treasurer, right?
Yes.
And which were they legally entitled to do? Probably.
Legal.
Right?
Probably according to the bylaws, yes, because they had a meeting and they did that in the meeting.
Yeah. Well, there's only
yes.
3 people in the whole corporation. It sounds like you made it sound like they went behind your back and went to some place and talked to other people, and those people signed you out. But no, it was just those same 2 people, right?
Yeah, same 2 people, exactly. These 2 people.
Okay.
Yes.
So now the same 2 people signed you out, which they removed you as treasurer and removed you as president, which they could probably legally do, right?
They have not removed me from the president or the treasurer position. No, not right now. I'm still in that position.
They didn't do it?
They did not do it.
Then what did they do?
They just took my name off the account, where the money was held. In that
they took your name off the account with the bank.
Yes.
How could they do that legally?
That's what I'm saying. How can they do it? So that's why I'm still.
I don't think they could do it legally. It depends how the language was on the account. Were all 3 of you equal signers?
Yeah, we're all equal signers. Everyone was equal signers.
No, I don't think they could remove you without you being involved, or the bank would be liable for doing that.
Yeah, it's funny how everything worked out.
So you go to the bank with 3 signers on a corporate account. 2 of them say, we want to vote that guy out, so we want to close the account ourselves. They can't do it without you illegally.
Yeah, they did it without me. So this is
Okay,
the
so
reason.
it was illegal. So now, then what happened?
Then what happened was they wanted the money and they were like, Ronald, you take your share and get lost, basically.
Yeah.
And
And
I
how
said
are they
no.
going to give you your share? They were signers on the account now?
No, they were the sole signers at that time after they removed me from the account.
They couldn't remove you legally.
Yeah, they could
without
remove
your-
me. Yeah, without my consent, they did all that.
No, because
So-
you could have gone to a small amount of money, but you could have gone to a lawyer and stopped them from doing that. And the bank, if they banked in it, the bank would be liable. They would have to give you the whole amount of
Yeah.
money.
how much money was it total?
it was like $68,000 or $67,000.
Uh-huh.
Not much.
Well, not much for big deals, a lot for one person or something. But anyhow, so then the bank must have made a mistake by taking you off the account. Unless they could prove that they had a 2/3 majority, which they had, and voted you off the account, and therefore you were voted off, and then they presented that conclusion and told the bank he's no longer qualified to be signer because 2/3 of the corporation voted him out,
Yeah, I think
Which
that's what they.
which
Yeah.
is the most likely thing they did. Okay, then what happened?
Okay. So then they wanted me to select an amount. Hey, you select an amount, we'll give you this money, and then the rest of the money will transfer it to ISKCON of Sacramento. So they went through this the whole deal of talking to I don't know from what I hear from them is they went to talk to a lawyer. They came up with an agreement, and they told me you select an amount. So I think I said I want like $30,000 or something like that, and
Yeah.
then they came up with an agreement, and they made me sign the agreement. And they said, if you don't sign it, then you're not gonna get anything, and we're gonna whatever it was. Then I signed the agreement, and then when they went to they went to transfer the money from the Wells Fargo account to the ISKCON account. I don't know what happened there. They transferred money from the wrong account or whatever, and
What's the wrong account?
the wrong account. I guess they transferred money from the ISKCON account to the ISKCON account instead of the account.
How can you transfer money from an account to the same account?
I don't know what happened. This is what actually happened. They transferred, I guess, money from ISKCON's account to ISKCON's account without touching the money that was in the account which they were taking from, which I was the part of.
Okay.
So basically what happened was they transferred the money, and after that they resigned from the account as signers.
So they took it from the wrong account?
Yes.
Oh, what it sounds like is they deducted $70,000 from the ISKCON account, or 30,000, whatever, and then they deposited the same money back into the same account, not into. In other words, they didn't take it out of your corporate account and put it in the ISKCON account. They took out that much from the ISKCON account and then put it back in.
Yes.
Possibly. Okay, then what happened?
then they signed off on the nonprofit, on the account. Sorry, not on the accounts. And then
When
I
they
guess
signed off on the account, what does that mean? They signed
resigned
off
from
from the bank. They went to
Yes.
the bank and said, we're no longer signers.
Yeah, so the money has been transferred. We're no longer signers, and they don't want to be part of the account.
Okay. But little known to them, the money had not been transferred when they
Exactly.
signed off on the account.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, then
So-
what happened?
They're just really stupid, huh?
Yeah, they're doing all these stupid things, behind, people's backs, and yeah, they're really stupid. Yes.
I mean, you have to be really stupid to like not know which account you're transferring into.
Well, they were probably in a fuss when they were doing it.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so then what happened? So then they signed themselves off. So you didn't get money into a different account. You had money controlled in the same account. But how
Yeah,
did you end up controlling it if they took you off the signership on the account?
So here's the tricky part. They added me to the account and they resigned at the same time. So they added me to the account.
Why did they add you to the account? Oh, because they were going to take out the ISKCON money and leave you with the 30,000 in that account?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So they added
Doesn't
me
make
to the
much
account.
sense because it seemed, okay, but they signed off. So in other words, they turned the account over to you with 30,000 in it, or so they thought.
Yeah, that's what they thought. Yes.
You get to keep, they didn't take the money out and hand you 30,000,
No. So
which would
so what
have
hap-
made more sense from a
Right.
practical point of view.
But it is,
Okay, so
so that is what it is now, that the money is there. I'm the caretaker of it, and it's still
Okay,
there.
so yours was
and
even, but what happened to the fact that they told the bank that you were no longer a signer?
they said I was no longer the signer, but they thought they had taken out the money from the account and transferred it to the
No,
ISKCON
yes,
account.
but if you're no longer the signer with the bank, then you can't take the money out.
No, but I had already been added, and they removed themselves.
What do you mean added when?
When
After
the
they took
transaction.
you off, they put you back on?
So what happened was they transferred the money thinking that the money had been transferred, and then they added
The
me.
ISKCON account.
Yeah,
But
to this.
meaning like 40,000 or something.
Yes.
Yeah, so they thought they had signed it over. Then what did they tell the bank? Put him back on as a signer?
Yeah. So they put me back on as a signer, and
Are
they
you sure
resigned
that's what they-
themselves.
Are you sure that's what they did?
That's what they did, because they're no longer the signers on the account. I'm the only
No, they're
signer.
not, but what makes you so sure that you are?
Because I have access to the account and my name is there, and
So-
they're
How-
not there.
So
How much-
having told the bank you're no longer a signer on the account, they made you a signer and took out what they thought was the other money.
Yes, and they resigned
But
from
they-
the account.
They resigned, but they
Yes.
restored you as a signer before they resigned. Is that right? Or not?
They
Did
restored me.
restore you
Yeah,
Did they
They-
restore you as a signer?
yeah, they restored me as a signer, and then
You're sure?
yes.
And
They
how much
restored.
was in the
Huh?
account?
Well, what method did they use to restore you?
Oh, just the paperwork that they were taking this amount of money out of the account, and then we're gonna take this money out, and then we're gonna add you to the account.
They said
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they added you to the account.
Yes.
How
Yes.
much was in the account when you got it at the end?
It was. Let me see the exact amount. 1 second. About $68,000 or something, or 69.
So they didn't touch it.
They didn't touch
They
it.
couldn't. They had no
Couldn't.
access to it.
Yeah.
They signed off thinking they'd taken the money out, but they signed off and put, I think and I hope that what you're saying is that they restored you as a signer and then signed out so that you would be left with your $30,000.
Yes.
Do you think that's what
Yeah.
really happened?
I don't know what actually happened, because all I know is that they're no longer the signers. They have no longer any access to the funds, and I'm the
Yeah.
only person that has access to it.
Yeah, but did you ask the bank if you are now a signer?
Yeah. I am
You
the
asked-
signer. Yes.
You
I
asked
am
them
the-
if you're the signer. No,
Yes,
I'm
I asked.
not looking for your opinion of being a signer. I mean, did the bank tell you that you were a signer
Yes.
after they quit? Honestly.
Yes. Yes.
They did tell you?
Yes.
Okay, did they explain what happened, how you became a
No.
signer again?
They added. I know how they removed themselves, thinking they had taken the money, and they added me to the account, which whatever money was left.
Yeah, but to add you to the account, you would have to sign again.
Yes, I signed on the paperwork on the bank for them adding me to the account. Yes.
Oh, so they did. This is what I'm trying to get to. So you did sign, they didn't sign you on, you signed yourself on.
No, they had to come up with the paperwork saying that we are removing ourselves, and I am putting this person as the sole signer on the account. Yes.
But you signed that paper,
Yes. Yes.
you're sure.
Yes.
You have a copy of it, no doubt.
I have the copy somewhere. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's what I was trying to get to. So that you got legally put back on the account after they'd taken you legally off of the account, or possibly illegally off of the account.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't notify me or anything like that. This
It's
is
not
all.
about you. It's about the relationship of signers to the bank. They don't have to notify you. If they go to the bank, they would say, well, if you're taking him off, he has to come in and sign himself out.
Yeah, no, they can remove two. According to the Wells Fargo bank, two members can come up with a document and vote and come up with a paper saying we are removing this person, and they will remove you, even though you're the signer.
Oh, okay. That's the bank rules. Okay, good. So now we have it all settled.
Yeah.
So
So I'm still telling them, hey, you guys.
When they were saying how you had the money and you have to have it, I said it seems very amazing that Krishna works in mysterious ways.
All right. everything, huh?
What were you going to say, Ramachandra?
I said everything was done, in a weird way, and all the results was like weird also. I was totally against everything they were doing. I was telling them, hey, why are you guys trying to blackmail me? I said, I'm not going to take any money from you. I could have removed you people also, but I never had any intention of removing anyone. I was like, we trust each other. I would never take.
I doubt if you could have removed them, because they could vote together not to be removed. They could outvote you.
Yeah, that was the other thing. They outvoted me and removed me. That's, I think, the main thing. And
yeah, but they couldn't. You couldn't have voted them out because they would not agree.
Yes.
One person can vote out two people.
Yeah.
Two people could vote. Two people could vote out one person.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened here.
But they, in their haste and lust and rage and anger or whatever it was driving them, they took the money out of the ISKCON account and put it back in the ISKCON account without realizing that's what they had done.
Yeah, it's a total mess up, what happened. So
no, I look at it as Krishna's arrangement, not
a
mess up. Krishna doesn't mess up.
Right.
They messed up. But Krishna didn't mess up.
So now you saw them complaining about the whole thing, I was like, let's work together.
I said, this is fine. Let's work with that money and make it work for World Sankirtan, for chanting into the villages. Let's use it, or let's use it to make more money and do more programs of Krishna consciousness. No, it has to be taken over and put in that guy's bank account. So, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's money it wasn't collected for ISKCON, so it doesn't need to go to ISKCON.
Right. Yeah. I told them, do something wonderful. Let's talk about it. We invited them. We told them. I've
Yeah.
been telling them that from the beginning. I said, this money must be spent for Prabhupada, and not for some individual corporation, this.
Yeah.
And what can I say? Now
Yeah,
they're
well,
all.
they have no one to be upset with themselves.
Yes. So that's the story. Crazy story.
Yeah, so we sorted it out completely. I wanted to understand it. I didn't want to grill you. I just want to understand the exact nature of what exactly happened, because I have a feeling I will undoubtedly be in the middle, or at least an advisor to whatever happens from this point onward.
Yeah,
And if I am, I want to know exactly what happened, so we don't have a bumblebee. They did this, I did that, he said, she said stuff. I don't want.
Let's work with them. Yeah, like you said, let's work with each other. Yeah, that's that's why
now,
we're here.
How can we add to that money?
We can add to the money by, how can we? I don't know, like distributing. I have books that I distribute, and I put the money in the account.
When you distribute books, what do you do with the money that you get from distributing them?
I put it in the account, in this account.
The same account?
Yes.
Okay, so it's increasing gradually every time you sell books, I guess.
Yeah, people give me donations too, not, some people.
So it's more than it was.
Yeah.
Unless you had expenses.
Yeah, there's some expenses, but not much.
Yes. Okay, so there we go. So now I think we need to create a vision plan for the direction of management and for bringing Lord Chaitanya, bringing Radharani in the form of Lord Chaitanya's sound vibration into the ears, or whatever they hear with, of all the living beings on the planet, including humans.
Yes.
So why don't we start making a move in that direction? Because then we will say we have a solid platform. Here we have a use for this money. You want the money? Then come and work with us. Bring more money.
Yes. Why not? Bring it.
Yeah.
And let's work together. That's what I've been telling them. Do something, which they cannot do anything because they're all broken up by the different unnecessary guru club and this and that, and personality cults and guru cults.
Exactly.
And
I know it's hard to talk because you're up to the ears with all of these people, knowing them. I don't know them. That's why it was easy for me to talk to them.
Yeah, this guy came up to me in Berkeley. He said, "Ronald, are you going to make a temple?" I said, "We can make a temple immediately. You give $50,000 out of your pocket. I give you this amount of money that I have, here, and I'll also give you some more." Well, no. They're not interested in, they want to collect from outside and then use it. They don't want to spend whatever they have in their bank account to spread Krishna consciousness. Oh, let's collect from outside.
So we have to make it an attractive proposal. And to do that, we have to be able to show the people that it's not about guru. People can argue, darn, you have a guru. You had Prabhupada as your guru. Why are you objecting to anybody else having a guru? I'm not objecting. They can have the same guru as I do. Don't you think that's generous on my part? I'll share my guru with you. But the main point is that Prabhupada, the main thing is where we are, is that Prabhupada fulfilled everything that Lord Chaitanya wanted fulfilled himself. All there is left is for the human race, with or without worshiping Prabhupada, but to chant the holy name, with or without Prabhupada, to deliver the holy name here and there to every town and village. They don't have to be, so you don't need to be a Ritvik initiate for Prabhupada. No, you don't have to be a disciple of anyone. If you want to be a Kinnistha Acharya, follow the regular principles, deity worship, offering prasadam, read
Yeah.
from Prabhupada's books, then you're going to start a curry. What's the problem? You don't have to have
No
a guru
problem.
to do that. And Prabhupada actually said that, because if anyone reads his books, they will understand that the outcome of reading his books is the instruction to chant Hare Krishna.
Chai.
So this is perfectly bona fide. It'd be nice if we can extricate that information from the Vedabase, where it becomes clear that Prabhupada made clear that chanting was the outcome, not Diksha as the outcome. And
Chai.
so Krishna Balaram Swami is creating an ironclad case for a nothing argument. Says, oh yeah, he's very qualified to be an initiating guru. Great, except for one small detail. We don't need an initiating guru, qualified or not. If he's qualified, why not make him? Is Krishna Balaram more qualified than Rupa and Jiva Goswami? They came from Krishna Loka, gopis. They manjaris. They came from Krishna Loka and became beggars in India.
Chai.
So why doesn't Krishna Balaram say, "Oh yes, I'm a pure devotee. I came from Krishna Loka. Good. Now do you want to become a beggar and chant the holy name?"
Chai.
Well, why not? Is the holy name more important, or is your position as guru more important? And that's where the problem rests right now, isn't it? That
Right.
the holy name of Krishna has become less important than the initiation, the structure, the guru, and all of that.
That's what's going on. Yeah, specifically here, these people have been telling me, Ronald, you need initiation. You need to surrender to someone, and this and that. I was like, I'm already surrendered. What the hell you guys are talking about? You need a living guru. Like Prabhupada is dead.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, I took initiation from Narayan. You did? How did you initiate? Oh, yeah, my name is Ramachandra now. Well, how did you initiate it? Well, he reached into the Sacramento River and came up with a handful of mud and slapped it into my head. Then I'm initiated like that.
Yeah, they're very disturbed by what I do. I don't know why. It's like we do
Well,
everything
because
up in the public.
you understand the truth. Simple as that. And they think the truth is something more complicated than it is.
Yeah.
You have to do this, and this, and then sell a book or chant the holy name. But you have to go through all these rituals first, becoming a member of an organization. But what are members of organizations if they are not human bodies with Jivism? So it's just a way of refining the bodily consciousness, no?
Exactly. Yeah. Body
You
consciousness.
can tell it to them straight on. Rupa Manchari, probably you haven't been saying anything. I've been talking too much. Why don't you speak?
It's
Uh,
just-
I'm actually a little bit tired, to be honest.
Well, we got 20 more minutes before you say it's time to close the meeting.
I was just thinking about that guy at Rath Yatra who said to Ronald Singh, "Oh, you're Narayan's disciple."
Well, he's probably heard that your name is Ramachandra, which sounds better. But
yeah, it's crazy. He that his name is Bahushra. He's the devotee that did my wedding, and then he's I guess totally for the unnecessary gurus. He doesn't like Radhanath. He doesn't like Radhanath.
he doesn't like Radhanath?
He doesn't like Radhanath, but somehow
Why?
he's probably he knows because Radhanath is involved in so many
You say
activities.
Radhanath
Radhanath, yes,
in Chapati.
yes.
He doesn't like him. How can
Yeah.
he dare? He has to accept him as a pure devotee.
Why
Yeah,
doesn't he
what-
like him?
What?
Because it's what he has done and his past, meaning that of what the killing of that devotee Sulocha.
Lochan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he accept that Radhanath was involved with the murder of Sulocha?
Well, he has hinted towards that, and he has hinted towards that, how Radhanath Swami is actually, I don't, is a very, how can I say, all I can tell you is he doesn't like and appreciate what he's doing. And he's made it clear to me and some
Oh,
other
he's
people.
doing a lot more than he is doing.
Yes. Put it like that,
He's
yes.
got a huge Goshala project in India, and he's done amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So the thing is, he can't, if he rejects Radhanath, then he has to reject the GBC. You can tell him that next time you see him.
Yeah. Yes.
Because
saw
the
how-
GBC made him into a guru. If the GBC has the authority to make him into a guru, this guy doesn't have the authority to say he doesn't like him.
Right.
Well, I don't
Right.
like a guru.
What is his opinion on the GBC?
Well, his opinion is both. He supports the unnecessary gurus at the same time, and he's very selective in his understanding and his approach.
How do you pick one unnecessary guru over the next?
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
mean, if they're all bona fide ISKCON gurus, then you have to accept them all equally.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts to like pick and
This-
choose when they all are part of the same organization.
Right.
They're all pure devotees descended from Krishna Loka. But that one over there is a total asshole. I don't like.
That's the way he's thinking, basically, the pick and choose kind of thing.
So, in other words, he's not even trying to consider that anyone in ISKCON is above Krishna and Acharya.
Yeah, basically.
Who's his initiator?
Srila Prabhupada, he got initiated by Prabhupada.
What's the guy's name?
He's your god brother named Bahushira.
Bahoshya?
Yeah, Bahu.
And he's the one that performed the wedding for you and your wife, right?
Yes.
You can say, what have you got against me? You performed the wedding between me and my wife. Now look at the situation.
Yeah. Anyways, it's what can I say? When you speak the truth and then you stick by your point, people, especially in an institution, you can't really do anything. If he speaks out against Radhanath Swami, they'll kick him out.
Yes. Well, anyhow, it looks like he's got interesting points that we could work on.
Yeah.
Now, when you were married, did he do a fire sacrifice?
Yeah. Yes. Fire sacrifice is in Berkeley.
Even though neither of you were initiated.
Yeah. Neither of us were initiated, right? Yeah.
Very interesting. None of you. How many were there? How
Just
many
me and my
wives
wife.
do you have? Oh,
Yeah, me and my wife. That's it. Yeah. Why?
Just the two of you?
Yeah, just the two of us. And he did the he did the fire sacrifice initiation, or he was the main pujari.
interesting.
Yeah. Why you say
You could've
interesting? Anyone can
Because
be.
you could have said because the fire sacrifice for the wedding is the same exact format as initiation.
There you go. Then I got initiated.
You could just say, yeah, if you're going to do the wedding, why don't you initiate us as Prabhupada disciples at the same time?
Yeah, now is the next thing. The next time I see him, be like, hey, we have a request.
Yeah. So
We'll get- Huh?
you say, I can't initiate you. You're already initiated by Narayana. Oh
this
no,
is-
Narayana is too old for me to take initiation from. I said, why do you say that? Because I want a living guru, and you're younger than he is.
yeah. Yeah, that was funny how he acted and ran away, huh? You saw that, huh? It's pretty.
Yeah. Well, let's get into conversation with him. I don't have any problem in conversation. And if he's a Prabhupada, if he's my god brother,
He is a god brother.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. I thought he was just another one of the second generation chumps.
No, he's a god brother. He's a god brother, all right.
My goodness. How
Yeah.
absolutely interesting.
That's why you came to Sacramento. You had a very interesting experience.
Huh?
You should be ready for the next experience. Will be better. You know,
Yeah.
August 14th. So mark your calendar.
Yeah.
This time we'll have some bullets.
Yeah. Totally amazing. What year was he initiated?
I think he was initiated 74 or 76. I forget.
By Prabhupada.
Yes, by Srila Prabhupada. Yes.
Where?
I have no idea.
Was he with Prabhupada when he was initiated?
Not sure. Not sure.
Okay. We'll find out in time.
Yeah.
So here we are facing many things. And I think many things are better than one or two things.
Yeah.
When Rupa Acharya and I were working on the direction of management, it was like one thing that we were doing. But now we have so many fronts to restore ISKCON. The basic thing is we have to agree as Prabhupada disciple, myself and Rupa Acharya, I would call her Prabhupada disciple, that she is a Prabhupada disciple. So I would say that that our job is to establish Prabhupada's order as law. And
Jai.
when anyone breaks, does not neglect Prabhupada's order, he may have overlooked it, but we do not overlook it. Because that person overlooked it. Prabhupada may have overlooked an offense being committed by one of his initiates. He can overlook it, but why should we? And more importantly, why should the person that committed the offense overlook it? He should be doing penance forever, having disobeyed the order of the spiritual master. Yes.
Yes.
So the GBC, all those GBC should have been doing penance for having disobeyed the spiritual master instead of gloating over having gotten more power than they would have had because now they're not elected.
And that they got away with it.
Yeah, got away with it. Yeah, that's everyone thinks get away with it. If you know anything about the court of Yamaraj, you'll know that the word getting away with it is a fantasy.
Yeah. Can get away with anything.
A fantasy of the criminal mind.
Yeah, this specifically this online, there's a lot of propaganda against this Lokanath Swami now because of what he did in the 90s, and a lot of people are upset, and a lot of second generation ISKCON devotees of the Prabhupada disciples, they are speaking out against this Lokanath Swami.
That's kind of amazing. So like Black Lives Matter or something, I guess, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
This happened a long time ago. It was, he acknowledged it. He did some sort of penance. He was talked about it. People went through it with him, and then he just went on with his life. And that for it to be coming up now is sort of, I'm not against it coming up now. I mean, what the heck is he being a guru for anyhow?
Yeah.
the point is,
Yes. Yes. Unnecessary guru.
Kirtananda made a
Absolute monster.
harvested children for sexual
Yeah.
purposes.
Right. And he continued with his unnecessary guru cult.
Yeah. So are people telling that everybody from initiated by Kirtananda is not actually initiated? Which basically they aren't actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, a lot of people are splitting hairs. The GBC is up in the underwears trying to figure out what to do now, because a lot of people are talking, a lot of second, third, and fourth generation people are aware. And with the internet, everything going on, with the GBC going crazy and, not knowing what to do. So, they are just fumbling everywhere.
So they need to then, if they're going to do that, then they should say, then go after Kirtananda, go after Bhavananda, go
Right.
after Ambarish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So-
then there's that other guy. What was the name of that guy that brought the Makadraj from Chandaswami with the raw mercury in it? Rupa Manjari, do you remember his name?
No.
We met him as guests with Gopal Krishna
Oh,
and
Satadanya.
Satadanya.
Satadanya. Yeah.
Yeah.
Satadanya. Yeah, he's still alive, presumably.
Yeah. He's still all right. Yes. Yeah. This big.
He's doing penance for being homosexual pedophile by having 2 wives. Didn't he have 2 wives, Rupa, when we met him?
I think he had one when we met him.
But he had
okay.
another, his wife's sister was there too or something.
Acha.
Yeah.
So
And
so that is what's going. This is what's going on in the ISKCON, world.
So
right now.
whoever is doing that, I don't know, I'm not at all aware. Have you seen anybody's publications on that topic, or you just heard about it?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've read about it. I've heard it. People
So
probably.
why not go under whatever Facebook or whatever and just make a list of all the devotees that should be brought to task? If they're going to bring him to task for sort of an inadvertent hand gesture, I guess you could call it. I'm not defending him, but I'm just saying compared to the others, he's nobody or nothing, unless that was the only time he got caught and he did it before. But I would say he made, I don't know if he did or he didn't. But why not we make a big list of all the ones and what they've done and who they've done it to, and then publish it with his name, Lokanath's name.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what are they doing? Just lynching one guy. They should execute them all.
Yeah, they're lynching this guy because there's a big political movement also.
Okay,
That,
what do they have against them politically?
Politically is that these men are unqualified men that have been given power and they have become gurus, and now the women are much better, in sense like some of these women they have been following very strictly, so they want the women to be gurus also. So in this way they're lynching this guy and saying, look, this is what you men have done.
Oh, so this is not anti-child molestation. This is anti-men.
Yes, anti-men also. Yeah, yes.
Also, or basically.
And anti-men also. Yes, anti-men.
Also, but I mean, if it's also, then we can bring up others. If it's not, if it's just against men, then that's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, this some of the GBC women are pushing this idea that look.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, women are quite capable of molesting girls, or being
anyone
forcing girls to molest them. I mean,
Yes. So this is what's going on. I'm just mentioning it.
Lesbians. I know what you're doing, but I'm saying, is there any percentage? What do you think about gathering all information on all sorts of
I think
pedophiles.
I think
You think
our
we-
mission, our mission of informing people and educating them about the direction of management is the solution. We don't have to focus on what people have done in the previous thing. That will just drown us.
Yeah,
To
okay, I tend
know,
to agree.
yeah, because why, whatever has been done has been done. Now let's fix it and let's educate people and let them make a difference in their lives.
Right.
Why?
We've got 3 minutes to go.
All right, 3 minutes. There you go.
So, Rupa, use those 3 minutes. Say something wonderful that will take with us into our next lifetimes.
Hare Krishna.
Uh-huh.
Conclude
Chant Hare,
for us.
chant Hare Krishna and be happy? No.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Rupa has the floor.
Oh gosh, I'm
In conclusion,
in conclusion, I agree with Ramachandra that promoting the direction of management is a positive, effective way to
Bring change.
facilitate change in ISKCON.
Chant.
Because
Well,
what's missing? It's what's missing.
No kidding. I mean, it's sort of like the elephant that isn't in the room. It's the
Yeah,
missing
exactly.
elephant in the room. So, to make a website, just get the format and then put the direction of management on it, and then everybody can add to it later on. But
Yes.
mainly
Yes.
just the structure with the direction of management on it.
Chant.
And then we could start put commentary, reasoning. We could put on Rupa's direction of management when she created. We got all those conversations, which got fairly complex because they were not just to Kurandar, they were to a number of different people. We collected all of those conversations, or she did really, and put them on the direction of management website, showing the chronology of disobedience to the direction of management, going from its creation in 1970 down to basically when they stopped making any attempt to do anything with it down in 76.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
So that,
Right.
like that letter to Kurandar, which you read to me, so it was such a brilliant choice by Prabhupada to
1972.
Kurandar.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's one of the letters. It's pretty well towards the end, and he was just finally left his. Not a normal person would have left a curse, but Prabhupada left a omen
Benediction.
or
Yeah.
warning.
Fix it. Yeah.
That
Fix it.
if you don't follow that order, bad things will happen,
And yeah.
bad things happen. So that letter could be the flagship in what part of the flagship statements saying, if you want to know what went wrong with ISKCON, Prabhupada says right here what's going to go wrong with ISKCON.
Yeah. Many things
And then-
Prabhupada has said, that have come true.
Yeah.
Prabhupada has said if the GBC doesn't follow, they will create a mess. They'll have to suffer. All these
Yeah.
things are there. Yes.
So then we can make that statement, then we can start finding historical elements to back it up from what actually happened in ISKCON. But mainly we want to put the pro stuff on first, all of the non-negative, everything just, we can make comments that the difficulties in ISKCON are caused by that disobedience. That's not a very harsh thing to say.
Yeah. Yes.
So anyhow, I think we have something there. Rupa Manjari, thank you for finishing up the session for us.
Haribol. Right.
Haribol,
Okay, so
Oh,
we're ending now.
Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol,
Mahaprabhu.
Haribol.
Whose
All right.
picture of Krishna is that? Prabhupada is that?
Say it again.
Huh?
I have a huge picture of Prabhupada on my screen. Who put it there?
Not I.
That's Mahaprabhu's picture.
Srila Prabhupada with 2 watches. Jai.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
What happened is that people would give him watches, usually, Patik Philippe or Rolex or watches like that, and he would wear them and flaunt them. Really, in other words, he would. And I mean that in a very specific way. Flaunt them, and he would exhibit them on his wrists,
And give it away.
and then he would give them away to people.
Wow.
Yeah.
He never tried to accumulate things like that, but he accepted the gift, accepted its value, showed off its value by showing it to people, not to make him look better, but just to actually make the giver of the watch look better. Because everyone knew he didn't take the collection plate and go out and buy a watch with it. So that's what was done. And that's a very nice thing. So I just thought I'd give you that little bit.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhus.
Thank
Hare
you very
Krishna.
much to all the devotees for watching. We have a WhatsApp group where you can participate. Please join in the WhatsApp group and you'll get the link for our next meeting. Will be on Wednesday and then Saturday and Sunday.
Hare Krishna. Good night.
Good night, Prabhu.
Good night,
Hare Krishna.
Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Mahaprabhu is becoming one of our greatest participants. He's always there. But the main thing is, even though not initiated, even though not a temple member, all of those things you think, oh, you have to be. No, he has come with his heart, his mind, and as a jiva, and as a result has made, I will say, from my experience with humanity since I was born, Mahaprabhu has made a major contribution with his stalwart nature, which is what Istagosthi is about. Which reminds me, let's get Subramaniam to take all that stuff off of and put it on a different site. Okay, can you make that happen?
Yes.
Ramachandra?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, I'll do that.
Because
Now.
otherwise we have no place to have conversations. I try to write something and it's in between two extremely nice Prabhupada Katha things, which is not where it belongs.
All right.
I
okay.
want debate on this. The League for 10K, we want debate, not just a beautiful Srimad
Yes,
Bhagavatam
Prabhupada.
plus.
Yes, Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhupada.
Hare.